Ah, you there. Can't sleep, can you? Neither can I. Come closer, traveller. It's raining something awful tonight, and the wind's starting to howl. Here, sit near the fire. I'll tell you a tale. Not one of kings and carriages, no, but of something real. Let me paint it for you. You wake in a dim, damp room. Not to sunlight or birdsong, no. The first thing you see is your brother's foot, inches from your face, twitching under a thin blanket that smells like wet wool and coal smoke. The room isn't a bedroom, it's just the room, the only one you've got, where 7 people sleep, argue, and dream, under a sagging ceiling that drips whether it's raining or not. You share the space with your whole family, and a rat who's been around long enough to be part of the lease. There's no wallpaper, just bare patches and old nail holes. A fake fireplace sits cold and mocking against one wall, and the single window lets in nothing but soot-filtered daylights and the constant groan of street carts. Somewhere below, someone's shouting about cabbages. Somewhere closer, someone coughs, again and again, as if it's a habit they can't quit. You wrap yourself in the same blanket you used yesterday and the day before, scratchy, faded, and possibly older than the city itself. There's no bathroom. That bucket in the corner is the toilet. And yes, you've learned to breathe through your mouth in the mornings to make it bearable. The air in here doesn't just smell, it clings. A stew of mildew, old boots, and coal dust. But it's home. You know exactly which floorboard groans when someone steps on it. You know which corner leaks, and which one your little sister hides in when she's scared. You know that if the wind howls just right, the pane of glass in the window will rattle like it's got something to say. Getting ready in the morning is a synchronized shuffle. Everyone dresses under blankets to avoid the bitter cold. Someone knocks over the chamber pot again. Someone complains about the bread being more crust than loaf again. You eat it anyway, because breakfast isn't a meal here, it's a ritual of low expectations. Half a hunk of bread, maybe some porridge if you're lucky, and a tin mug of tea that tastes more like boiled soot than anything floral. But it's hot, and hot means safe. You slip on your boots, cracked, soaked from yesterday, and still holding a faint odour of whatever you stepped in last, and make your way toward the door. The hallway outside is just as grim. Peeling paint, cracked stairs, and smells no candle could hope to hide. Someone on the second floor is already yelling about something. Stolen coal, maybe. It's hard to tell. You pull your coat tighter around your chest and open the door to the street, and immediately choke. The fog hits you like a wall, not the soft storybook kind. This is the infamous London pea soup fog, a greasy mix of mist, soot, and chimney smoke that turns the air into a thick grey stew. You can't see 5 feet ahead, and what you can see is mostly outlines. The crooked lamppost, the blurred shadow of a horse cart, the faint flicker of a gaslight struggling against the gloom. You cough. Everyone coughs. It's part of the morning ritual, like tying your boots or grabbing your crust of bread. Somewhere, a street sweeper hacks so hard he has to stop walking. Somewhere else, a woman mutters about needing a clean shirt, though there hasn't been such a thing in this neighbourhood for years. This is your street, your city, your world. Victorian London doesn't wake up. It grumbles, coughs, and limps into motion. And now, with your eyes watering and your throat burning from the fog, it's time to face whatever this day has in store. You start walking, not because you're ready, but because you have to. In this city, standing still makes you part of the scenery, and the scenery doesn't eat. Your boots slap wet stone as you move through the fog. Each step is a guess. Is that a puddle? Or something worse? Doesn't matter. Your socks were already wet before you left the house. You've stopped trying to avoid the filth. You just try to outwalk it. Around you, the street begins to thrum with life. Not joy, not excitement, just movement. The kind that says, if I don't get there first, someone else will. You pass chimney boys with faces smeared black like war paint, a flower girl arranging half-dead blooms in a basket she can't afford to carry, and an old man already sipping gin from a cracked teacup. The butcher is unlocking his stall, brushing flies off yesterday's meat. A boot-black boy, no older than 8, offers to shine your shoes for a halfpenny, looking up at you with wide, hollow eyes. You nod and keep walking, not because you're heartless, just because your pockets are as empty as his. Past the bakery now, where the smell of warm bread mocks your morning's crust. A woman stands by the door, clutching her shawl tight, eyeing passers-by, not for conversation, but for opportunity. Everyone here is either running from something or towards something, and sometimes it's hard to tell which. Your destination? A factory by the canal. Not a glamorous place, just a low bricked beast of a building where metal groans and men vanish for hours in a cloud of steam and soot. You don't work there yet, not officially. But there's a foreman who owes your uncle a favour, and maybe today he'll let you in. You've been hanging around the yard all week, hoping for that nod, watching others drag sacks, stoke furnaces, and shovel coal until their fingernails split and their knuckles turn raw. But it's work, and work means food. A constable passes you by, his coat buttoned tight, eyes scanning the streets like he's trying to spot sin before it blooms. You keep your head down. You're not doing anything wrong. Yet. But in this city, being poor is often mistaken for being guilty. You reach the yard and lean against the wall, eyes stinging from the fog, throat scratchy from the walk. The foreman is barking orders, slapping a clipboard against his leg. You wait. Minutes pass. Then more. Men go in. Some don't come out. Eventually, the foreman spots you, eyes narrow, jaw tight. You brace for the usual dismissal, but instead, he jerks his thumb toward the gate. That's it. No greeting, no name, just a nod. And somehow, it's the best thing that's happened to you all week. You slip inside the yard, joining the others as they fall into line. The workday is starting. You're already sore and haven't even done anything yet. Inside, the factory is a breathing thing. Wheezing steam, coughing gears, metal shrieking against metal. You find your post near the furnaces, and the heat hits you like a slap. There's no time to get used to it. You just start, lift, haul, shovel, repeat. The noise is constant. The light, if you can call it that, flickers weakly from hanging lamps, casting shadows like ghosts across the walls. Sweat stings your eyes. Soot coats your throat. And all the while the foreman stalks behind you like a wolf, growling at anyone who dares slow down. You work in silence. No one here talks. Talking wastes breath. And in a place like this, breath is precious. Hours blur. There's no clock, just instinct. You learn to read time by the way your limbs shake and your stomach aches. At some point, there's a break. Not for rest, but for water and maybe a bite of bread. The water tastes like metal. The bread, like old plaster. But you eat it anyway. Because you're still here. Still standing. And that, in Victorian London, is its own kind of victory. By the time the foreman growls, "That's it," your arms feel like sacks of stone. You don't remember lifting half the crates, and yet your back tells you otherwise. Your shirt clings to your skin, soaked through with sweat and smoke, and your lungs feel like they've been scrubbed with sand. You're not paid today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. Sometimes it's come back next week. Sometimes it's you should be grateful for the practice. You don't argue. You just nod, thank him, and walk back out into the fog. Outside, the light has changed. It's darker now, but not because it's evening. Just thicker smoke. The kind that settles in your eyelashes and makes the air hum like a hive of bees. You cough again. You always do. And begin the slow trudge back through the maze of alleys and cobbled streets. This part of the day is different. There's a kind of weight to it. People are quieter, faces more drawn. The market's mostly closed, except for a few last vendors shouting half-heartedly about bruised apples and meat gone soft around the edges. A group of boys run past, chasing something. Maybe a rat, maybe nothing. Their laughter sharp as broken glass. You pass the church. It leans to one side like it's tired of pretending it can save anyone. A few women linger near the steps, shawls pulled tight, speaking in hushed tones. You hear the word fever, and your pace quickens. In London, illness doesn't knock. It creeps. One day you're fine. The next, you're a name spoken in the past tense. As you move on, you pass by the apothecary's shop, windows clouded, shelves crammed with bottles that promise relief but rarely deliver. A man stumbles out holding a small packet of powder. He looks young. His eyes say otherwise. The street narrows now. You duck your head beneath a hanging line of laundry, stiff and frozen from the damp. A cat watches you from a windowsill, its fur the colour of ash. It doesn't blink. Near the corner, a woman is scrubbing her steps with what's left of a rag. She hums to herself, a tune that doesn't belong here. Something hopeful, maybe from a memory that stayed sweet while everything else turned sour. She nods as you pass, and you nod back. That brief kindness feels like sunlight. You're almost home when you hear it, the scuffle of boots behind you, quick, purposeful. You don't look right away. You just move a little faster. Not enough to show fear, just enough to say, I'm not worth the trouble. It works. Or maybe they were never following you to begin with. Still, your heartbeat doesn't slow until you see your building again, leaning like it wants to fall but hasn't gotten the courage yet. Inside, it's no warmer, no quieter, just familiar. Your siblings are arguing. Your mother is boiling something that might be soup. You can't tell. It smells like shoes. But it's hot, and hot, as always, means survival. You hang your coat by the door, or rather the nail pretending to be a hook, and sit on the floor by the hearth. There's no fire, just the memory of one. You hold your hands toward it anyway. Someone hands you a crust. Someone else hands you a cup of water that tastes like roof drips. You say thank you, not because it's polite, but because it's real. A full meal here is rare, but small kindnesses, they keep you going. Your sister curls up beside you, too tired to finish her argument. Your father mutters something about coal rations, and then dozes off mid-sentence. You lean back against the wall, eyes half closed, listening to the gentle sounds of home. A cough, the scrape of a spoon, the drip, drip, drip from the ceiling. Outside, the fog thickens. The city never truly sleeps, but it does get quieter, softer, like it's whispering instead of shouting. And as the shadows settle into corners, and the last bit of light fades from the window, close your eyes. Just for a minute. Because tomorrow, it all begins again. You didn't mean to fall asleep. But when you wake, your neck is stiff from leaning against the cold wall, and your fingers have gone numb where they rest in your lap. The room is dark now, lit only by the faint orange glow of a distant street lamp flickering through soot-streaked glass. It must be late. Not that the hour matters here. The city has its own way of keeping time. Somewhere in the night, a carriage wheel cracks against a cobblestone. Somewhere else, a dog barks once, then goes silent. The fog outside has thickened into something heavier, something that presses against the window like it's trying to get in. Everyone around you is asleep, or trying to be. Your mother's soft breathing rises and falls in rhythm with the ticking of the broken clock above the mantel. A clock that hasn't told the right time in years, but still ticks, as if pretending helps it survive. One of your brothers snores. Another mutters nonsense in his sleep, fighting off something in his dreams. You listen for the rat. He always makes his rounds about now. You hear the soft scuffle in the corner, the scratch of claws, the delicate sound of teeth finding something edible in what others have missed. He's part of the night routine now, like the dripping ceiling or the groan of the old wooden beams. Your stomach growls quietly. Dinner wasn't much, and you didn't expect it to be. You think of bread, real bread, soft and warm from a clean oven. You've only had it once, and you still remember the way it smelled. Sometimes you think you could survive just off that memory. The air in the room has gone still. It's the kind of silence that feels thick, like something alive is holding its breath. You wrap the thin blanket tighter around your shoulders and lean your head back again. The wall is damp with cold. Your breath comes out in little clouds. Then, a sound. Not in the room. Outside. A low, dragging thump, like a body being moved. Then a cough, wet and close. You rise slowly, careful not to wake the others, and creep to the window. You wipe a patch of glass clear with your sleeve. The street is nearly invisible under the fog, but you can make out a figure. A man, maybe, or something that used to be one, shuffling down the road with an uneven gait. He pauses under the flickering gaslight, revealing a tattered coat and a wide-brimmed hat pulled low. He looks up toward your window, though he can't possibly see you. Still, you pull back. Some things aren't worth being curious about. You slide back down beside your sister, careful not to disturb her. Her hand finds yours, even in her sleep, and squeezes once. You stay like that for a while, grounded by the quiet thump of your family's breathing. Eventually, your eyes grow heavy again. You drift in and out. You dream, maybe, of carriages and clean sheets, of a house with 2 rooms instead of 1. Or maybe you just imagine the dreams. It's hard to tell in this half-sleep. Outside, the city hums its lullaby. The clatter of hooves on stone, the drip of water from eaves, the occasional call of a night hawker selling hot potatoes to the sleepless. In some alley, a fight ends quickly. In another, a baby wails for someone who won't answer. But here, in this tiny room with its familiar shadows and scratchy warmth, you are still breathing, still alive, still part of this strange, coughing, sprawling beast of a city that never truly sleeps, but does sometimes sigh in its sleep, like it remembers what it used to be. And for now, that's enough. The first sound you hear is the coughing. You're not even fully awake yet, but the harsh, rattling noise is already filling the room. Someone gasping like their lungs are trying to leave their body. You blink, your eyes open. It's still dark out, barely morning, and the fog is thicker than before. You can smell it, even from inside. Acrid, bitter, alive. You sit up slowly. Your back aches from the floor, your neck from the wall. Your stomach is as empty as your pockets, and the cold has crept into your bones. Someone knocks over the bucket. Again. The splash echoes like a slap. Everyone groans. Your mother curses softly under her breath. The smell is sharp, immediate. You breathe through your mouth and try not to retch. No one says anything more. What's the point? You reach for your boots, still wet, still cold. You slip them on anyway. Your little sister is shivering beside you. You nudge a blanket over her shoulders. She doesn't wake, but her body curls tighter, grateful. The ceiling drips again, steady as a clock. You're already up and moving by the time the shouting starts. Voices outside, sharp, urgent, and too close. Something's happening on the street. You press your face to the window. All you can see are shapes in the fog. One is slumped against the wall. Another is yelling something about the fever. Your stomach tightens. You know that word. Everyone does. The building across the way has already been marked with chalk once this month. A thin white cross scrawled beside the door. One of the boys inside hadn't made it through the night. He was younger than you. You back away from the glass. Time to go. There's no porridge this morning, no bread, just the tea. Black, bitter, thin as shadow. You sip it slowly, letting it scald your tongue, just to feel something. Then, coat on, you slip out the door again. The fog greets you like an old enemy, heavy and wet, curling around your collar, filling your mouth with the taste of coal dust and something older, something rotten. You pass the corner where the coughing man was. He's gone now. Just a smear on the bricks and a trail of wet footprints that vanish halfway up the alley. You keep your head down. You're not going to the factory today. Not after yesterday's shift. And not with that fever talk so close. Instead, you head toward the river. There's work there sometimes, hauling crates for the fishmongers, sweeping out the dock stalls. It pays in copper and bruises, but it pays. The Thames is low and slick and mean-looking today. The smell is worse than usual. A thick stew of fish, guts, ash, and whatever the factories upstream have dumped overnight. You don't look at the water too long. It looks back. You find a spot by the crates and wait. The fishmongers are already arguing over spoiled catch and missing knives. Someone's been stealing again. You don't say a word. You just sit. Watch. Wait. That's how it works here. Sometimes you wait for an hour. Sometimes all day. Sometimes someone gives you a job. Sometimes they don't even look at you. And still, you wait. Because what else is there? You sit in your soaked boots, coat pulled tight, the river sighing beside you, and the city rumbling behind you. London doesn't stop. It lurches forward, dragging everyone with it, choking, coughing, cold to the core, but still moving. Just like you, the sky begins to shift. Not clear, never clear, but a lighter shade of grey now. The kind that says the day has started whether you're ready or not. You close your eyes, just for a moment, letting the noise fade into background hum. The footsteps, the shouts, the river. You listen to your own breath. You're tired, always tired, but you're here, and that's enough for now.